Scott and Sam, the AM.
Good morning. Welcome to episode 12 of Scott and Sam in the AM. If you don't know us, I'm Sam. This is my best friend and my partner, Scott. We're full-time real estate investors and business owners. We get on here every week and we talk about everything we're going through, the goods and the bads. Last week we had a lot of bads. We talked about how uncomfortable we are. This week we're going to talk about how we're doing great. Scott got a brand new car. I'm about to get a brand new car. Things are looking up, Scott. Good morning.
Samuel.
Why don't you tell everyone about your latest purchase?
Yeah, so we got a 2025, so it's used but new to me, Toyota Land Cruiser. It has 6,000 miles on it, certified pre-owned, and pretty stoked on it, man, because I went in to get a Grand Highlander, which I was not super stoked on, but I thought it was a good car, a good family car, and the dealer pulled this one around. He was on a test drive with somebody else as we're sitting in the chair, kind of going over the options. My wife wanted the Platinum Edition on the Grand Highlander, and he's like, "We don't have any, but I'll find you one." Guy pulls this one up around the corner. I was like, "What's going on with that?" And he goes, "That's available." He's like, "I sold that car to the guy, and he traded in for a minivan because he needed the space for his family." That guy, loser.
Sucker.
But yeah, but he it only had 6,000 miles and it was ready to go out the door. The guy who was test driving it, he was like, I'm gonna take it. I'm just gonna go grab some food. You know, I guess he wanted to think on it or whatever. And I bought it in between that time of him leaving, and the other salesman who was working with him kept coming around the desk, making sure that if we were closing or not. I knew that car was going fast. Those cars don't sit on the lot. They're really hard to find used ones of them, I think. And it was black on black, which is my favorite spec. So I'm stoked on it.
Hell
Drove
yeah,
it today. Drove it today as
deserve
my Tesla has a cracked side window that had to be dropped off. So my wife is carless. So what about
a lot
you,
of
pal?
suckers in that story, from the minivan guy to the guy who lost out on it to your wife. Everyone's a sucker, except you. Me, on the other hand, for those of you who don't know, I have recently taken the jump from one kid to two, and my wife and I are already talking about 2 to 3. If I had to guess, God willing, we have number 3 by, I don't know, in the next 2 years, because I think we really want to have 4. I was an only child until I was 8 years old, and then my wife grew up as the middle of 3 kids. So she grew up very, on top of one another, a lot of kids running around. I grew up playing in the basement by myself. My brother and I were never in the same chapter of life at the same time. He was a newborn baby while I was a kid, and then I was a teenager while he was a kid, and then I was an adult while he was a kid/teenager. And I just always wanted to have a lot of kids close together, with a tight knit household. So I'm in the middle of that. Car wise, though, our family car is a Tesla Model Y, which is a great car if you're like a young couple, maybe one kid, fine. 2 kids, I'm 6'2", 6'3". My wife is probably 5'9". My kids are also big kids relatively. When we do anything on the weekends, it's unenjoyable going anywhere. Not even to mention fitting a double stroller into the trunk, but I have to move my seat all the way up like I'm driving a clown car to go anywhere. So, and I don't want to go get a car. I have not bought a car in like 4 years. I don't want to go get a car and then want another car in 2 years when we go to have another kid. So I'm just going big, and that way forget about it, FUH. And captain's chairs are a must. I'm getting it used because it's probably going to be parked in front of our house more often than not. If it gets dinged up, gets scuffed up, I don't want to lose sleep over it. And there's not that many selections when you want what I'm asking for. It's like pretty much a Yukon, a Tahoe. People love the Grand Highlanders, but They only love the really latest Grand Highlanders. I don't even think they made. I think before that was just a Highlander, bunch of suckers. But the Grand Highlanders are 65, 70 grand, or a Lexus GX, which I still want. Unfo- yeah. Well, let's go with that. I was gonna say, but we'll edit this out, but we're not gonna edit it out because we don't have anyone to edit it out anymore. Is that I'm not gonna buy a $90,000 car for my wife and kids. Okay, let's just if
Right.
I get a $90,000 car,
It's
I'm
for
driving
Sammy
it.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
understand. I understand.
Okay, so
I understand.
that's where we're at. This you can get a Mazda CX-90, a Volvo XC90. I've been in them. They are not big enough, that much bigger than the Tesla Model Y, to think that I'm not going to need another one in when we have the third kid, or if just my kids get a little bigger, like it's not happening. So it's either a Tesla, it's either a Tahoe, a Yukon, GX.
Are there any foreign cars that compete with the Yukon?
I mean, like they all have their competition. Like Hyundai has the Palisade. I think I'm not doing that. Nothing against that. I just feel like when I'm in those cars, like I rented the Kia Telluride when we were in Florida this winter, and I just felt like if I hit something, I was going to explode. It just feels like a cheap car, like, and people love them. I get it. Like they're affordable. You know, New cars now seem to last a lot longer, but man, I feel a heck of a lot safer in a GMC Yukon than I do driving a Kia Telluride.
Yeah, I don't think they even compete with one another, to be honest. But
Whatever. Well, I'm just saying the level of
yeah,
options for that much space.
no, I understand. Yeah, I think it's a good car. They're all over the road. Everyone, all the big families have them. In New Orleans, all the uptown families are all driving Yukons. It's
Yeah, the thing I'm
or the I guess the Escalade is the high end version of that. Like I think
yeah,
they're all kind of in the same
you don't see
world.
a lot of used Escalades in the years that I'm looking, like 2023, 2024. I don't see any Escalades really for sale. Also seems like Escalade's made a huge comeback the last couple of years. Like it was really cool when like LeBron was younger, and then it seems like it kind of became like the old man car. And then a couple of years ago, they're back.
Well, Cadillac has made a huge push for all their cars, like the CTS-V, Blackwing, all these things. They all compete now with the highest end four-door sedans. They come in manual transmissions, and they're like cool again. Like people are driving them. Like Rogan has one. They're all talking about it. Like they're really cool, and like the engines are insane, and they're manual transmissions, which are hard to find. And then the Escalade is like they make the Escalade V, which is like an 800 horsepower Escalade, which is like the top of the line one, and then they all ride on like these air suspension that is like I hear it's like no other car to drive supposedly. So
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing all that. Um, but I've made a lot of videos about this, especially the last couple of years. I've been trying to be incredibly dialed on my monthly expenses as we grow our business and we grow our real estate portfolio. And it's worked the way I hoped it worked, which is I have enough money to keep up with the investing I want to do. And, um, but at the same time, like you and I talk about this a lot. It's really hard to see the fruits of your labor when you don't see the fruits of your labor physically. Like it's very easy to look at a balance sheet and be like, oh, look at all this great stuff we're doing. But like, driving the 2018 Subaru Crosstrek and sweating through Center City, Philadelphia at 7 o'clock on a Friday when it's 95 degrees outside, and some jerk off rides by you in his Yukon, and you're like, I know I work harder than that jerk off. That sucker. So it's about time I do a little something for me and my family, and little tiny thing. Thanks, pal. Haven't done it yet. Probably won't. Anyway, on to the next one. We're not really a car pod, but we mix it in here and there. So we talked last week about how uncomfortable we are, and a lot of it is just, to be honest, because we're doing a lot of the stuff that we always talked about wanting to do. And it required more experience and honestly more money. And then we got a little bit more experience and we got a little bit more money and we started doing those things. I would say, um, I love what we're doing. it's really nice. I think I've never understood the gravity of the importance of um planning and management like I do now. Um Definitely don't have it figured out, but I've always come from Scott and I are opposite on this. I've always come from the school of thought of like, I'll just get it done, just give it to me. We're at the point now where that's just not physically possible anymore. There's not enough time in the day, and the days seem to be flying by so fast um, that we're going to go back out and expand our team here, hopefully after the summer. And the way I'm looking at it now is so much different than I've ever looked at it before. Whereas before, we always wanted to just add people who can hopefully drive revenue. Now it's how can we add people in supportive roles that will lift us up from the bottom on up. And we never had the activity before or the capital before that would justify that. Now we do. And I'm excited for it. What do you think?
Well, it's not. It's you have it wrong in the fact that it wasn't like there was no activity. We were doing more deals, but here's the difference is what our business model was before was everything before the deal was taken over. So like you're not a real estate investor until you have bought the deal and then you have seen the deal through all of the value add component and then you decide I'm going to sell or rent it. That is not a that is not what we were doing. So you don't need the support roles to do the things that are on the front end, which is sales, to find the deal to end up selling it to somebody who is going to do all of that work. And that is what, when you sell a property to an investor, that's how they look at it. And the more deals you own and the more deals that you do, you realize that this is not just about the numbers. Yes, the numbers are important, but you not need to go out and execute on all of that. And now our business model has shifted where finding the deal is, you don't need as many deals because now we're doing the whole back end process, which is not driving revenue. The revenue comes from all of that work, and then hopefully the revenue outpaces what it was on the front end, which is just finding the deal, locking it up, and then selling it. Like you don't need the support roles in that world. You need a transaction coordinator, but you need sales. Like you need people that drive revenue because that's where you're spending all your money, right? But you're only spending like the money that we're actually spending now on the back end. Yes, we do some marketing, but for the most part is heavy in the actual value add component of the real estate, which is the labor and the materials. And that's what he's talking about when it comes to why you need support roles, like project managers, oversight like that, opposed to when you're just transacting real estate as a wholesaler, which is, or even a wholetailer, because it's just buying and moving money around and then listing it, that's what we were doing. So like when you first start off, you need guys who can find you deals. Later down the road, you need guys who can actually get the deal through, and it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, I'm already thinking. I'm looking at kind of what we have in the pipeline over the next 90 days, and my two biggest things I think about at night are getting the materials in place in time, but not too early because you pay for them, and having the labor ready and scheduled to knock it out as efficiently as possible. And like to get, I actually, you know, I'm pretty intense with it, but you know, we have one project going on right now. It's our biggest flip in terms of back end price point we've ever done, and it's a huge 4,000 square foot house, big job. But I looked at it and we bought it 100 days ago. I don't know, so I can't really expect to move any faster. But I've now going through a handful of these, I've learned just the importance of all the nuances of like little thing I always think about is if I get one faucet or one handle for one bathroom, everything else in that bathroom needs to match that color. Well, we got gold for that. Well, there's no gold available for that kind of valve in that shower head for 3 weeks. And the contractors want it now because they want to get paid. And like, so I'm trying just to avoid those headaches and just plan it out better. But it's so time consuming. And it's an in-person job. Like you can't do it from behind a computer. So much different than what we were doing before. So much different. You realize like when you're just deal hunting, it's like 5 to 10% of the game. It's the most important 5 to 10%, but that what I'm talking about right now, like we're probably going to spend 2 and a quarter on it. I could see us going even a little bit more if we really go high end for like staging and landscaping and stuff. But the only reason why it still is going to make sense, knock on wood, should be a 6-figure profit is because the number we got it at, you know. And that was just a deal sitting on the market that Scott found and was like, "Hey, we should make an offer on it," because no one else was, and we got it for like 60,000 below asking. But yeah, I definitely took that for granted of how much work goes into actual real estate investing, and I'm talking about like either doing value add, I'm talking about the value add on big stuff that needs to be stabilized, like an RV park, all the way down to flipping a house or burning a duplex and such like that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I see how people lose their shirts because they buy wrong, and then it can be very overwhelming as you're doing it. And unfortunately, and it's so capital intensive. Um, the only way to get it done and to either make money or get your money back is to finish. And we've been fortunate that we've had the money available and the time available, but I could see how people lose their shirt doing this for sure.
Yeah, people don't realize what it takes. And doing one flip, that's one thing, but if you do a multiple, especially if you've had a little success early on and you're like, I'm going to buy this one, I'm going to buy that one, I'm going to buy that one. And then they just take longer than you expect. That you spend more than you actually think you're going to spend. And you know, if you don't have a few $100,000 like parked on the side that you're able to tap into when things kind of go wrong. I'm not saying you need it all the time, but there will be times when you do. And like, we have a project right now. We're more than double into the budget because we changed the the exit strategy midway. We realized we didn't want to keep it. Didn't really make much sense. We wanted to make money, but in order to do that, to flip it properly, we needed to do everything. And lo and behold, that took a $60,000 budget to 130 something thousand budget, and we only borrowed 60,000 for the renovation. So that means we're putting 70,000 of our own money into this project. Now, don't, try to avoid that. That's not a great move, especially if you're just beginning. But that's just the reality of this game. Like you think you know something, you think you have a plan, but things change all the time. And yes, we're lucky that we're able to do it, but there's always an end there where, it would be too much for us too. We're not there yet and not near it, but
We're
we
doing it right
could.
now. We have a project we were about to do, and we said, I think we can make a rip if we punt on this and sell it now.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so we bought a project. It would have been a really good deal, and it was, knock on wood, it's a good enough deal for us to sell it in the condition that we bought it in. We did a little bit, we cleaned it up, and make a very good, healthy profit on it without having to do the actual renovation project, which means we would have probably made, I'm not going to say twice as much, but probably 150, 160% more than we're making now. But, that's 6 months out.
Probably.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
Like,
not definitely.
no, no, of course not. But that is 60 or 6 months out, opposed to taking the money now because we could use it, period. That's just the truth. And, I think that's just the name of this game. I think anyone who's in this game knows that feeling of like, yes, you have money. Yes, you're making money, but sometimes it's just like, it's a lot, man. Like, it's a lot. And if you're not like stretching those boundaries at our age, like, I think that you're not doing it enough. Like, we come across guys all the time who are like, they're so seasoned, they're doing 2 or 3 projects a year. They're very, very, very selective. They pay cash for everything. And they probably have a few $1 million stacked away, and they spend $1 million on one project. They're not really stressed about it. Like, you can kind of tell, but that's just not our reality at 32 and 33 years old. It's just not, like not the lives we want to live
Reminding
either.
everyone you're 32 still for another month and a half here.
I can't believe it's June already. Dude, speaking of being 32, I just started meditating again. I know I
You
used to do
back?
it dude, I meditated for 30 minutes this morning. It Shout out Dr. Joe Dispenza. If anyone's out there who listens to this guy, he's on social media. I started reading his book, and dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm one of those people
Tell
that
us more
like
about Dr. Spazenza.
Doctor. I don't know how you pronounce his name. He, long story short, it's just it's a really good feeling to sit there and clear your mind for 30 minutes. And I know I don't always have 30 minutes to do that. Sometimes it's 10, but like you kind of just feel like a new person for the day. And I know you got to keep doing it. You got to keep going back to the well. Like it's not like a one-time fix-all thing, but I don't know, man. I feel good better about life, honestly, doing that
Is
among
it
everything
uh
else.
is it just silent meditation, just you're just in your head with your thoughts?
It's mostly silent, but it's guided in the beginning to calm yourself down. And his like whole thing is more or less like
But you have
clearing.
earphones in. You're listening to
Yeah,
something?
yeah, listening to him. And basically his whole thing is getting yourself to a place where you really no longer exist. And just like when you close your eyes, you know how you have that like black void that's in your right? You can see it's just black, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of infinite, right?
For
If you
those of you
really
on the audio, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, so if you just close your eyes for a second and then you start to just really focus on the infinite black that's in front of you, and then you kind of spend your time thinking about how far does it really go in every direction, behind you, above you. And then after a certain period of time, about 10, 15 minutes, you start to actually lose your own self and you kind of become he calls it like no one, there's nowhere, you're nothing, and there's no time, and time kind of just evaporates out. Like the 30 minutes this morning, and that's the longest I've done in a long time. 30 minutes felt like 5. Like once you kind of get into it, it's very it I'll send it to you. It's really nice. And then his whole part of it is now once you get to that point, you can you write down your intentions of what the future that you're looking for, and then you try to find that intention while you're in that space of no one, no thing, no time. And that's the time that he says that you can really link into that and actually, put that into your subconscious mind, and then it helps you find it in your real life when you actually open back up and go to the material world. Now, it sounds a little spiritual, I get that, but I like it. It's interesting.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's nice. I'll tell you, if you are at the 1% just starting or 0%, or you're crushing it and you're a multi-billionaire already, I feel like as someone who's been doing this for a few years now, and I think we are really good examples of, we just do real estate, but there's a million Scott and Sams out there who do hat printing businesses or run a deli or whatever, of just the amount of um flush ability, flush the day, start a new day you have to have just to survive. I feel like the rewards that we've gotten have just come from the ability to stay willing, from the willingness to stay in the deep end long enough to see your fruition. We could have punted 3 dozen times by now. And if not having each other for different parts of the time, the other one might have. I can see why people never get started, or why once they get started it's so hard. And you know it's not easy. Making money is really, really hard, and I feel like that's one of our better strengths, is making money. Now, there's a million other people out there who might not be as good about driving revenue, but they're excellent managers or process implementers. Everyone has their different strengths, but if you're someone listening to this and that reverberates with you, like he's talking about, you have to do it every day. You think it could be meditation, it could be working out, it could be reading, cold plunging, whatever. You got to find out whatever it is that helps you feeling good and excited every morning because you need it. You need to be in it for the long game.
100%. It's like the consistency is going to outpace any talent all day long. So if you're like you know, you could see that even in sports, the guy who's just really, really talented, they never really get as far as the guys who are just willing to show up and grind it out every day. Obviously, there's a certain level of talent needed in anything. That obviously you have to find your strengths. But dude, I mean, one of the reasons why I think we're at all successful is because real estate is just one of those vehicles that has been proven time and time again. And like that's why I got into it to begin with because as a business major, basically you have no idea what the fuck you want to do. So you're like, all right, like real estate, a lot of people have made real estate work. Yes, a lot of people have failed in real estate, but I know that at least the vehicle works. To give you like a small example, I was at my dad's this weekend visiting in Melbourne Beach, Florida, and inside of his community, the community's been around, I think like 30 something years or 25 years, something like that. It's like a golf course community right across the street from the beach. They have like private beach access, really nice, quiet, but there is this strip of land that is undeveloped and it's all sites that have all the utilities ran to it, and then there's another portion of it that's right up against the inlet that's undeveloped where everyone parks their boats, like they dry dock their boats. And my dad was telling me that after the 2008 crash, the developer who was developing the last few sites, there's probably like 30 of them in there or something like that. The guy who was doing that
Surrounded by developed sites, you're saying?
yeah, uh-huh. So like
Okay.
it's inside of my dad's like gated community.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's all part of the community, but it's inside of this community that he lives in. And the guy at auction after the 2008 crash bought it for $650,000. And just to give you some context, he turned out an offer like last month for 12 million. And that is less than 20 years later. It's 18 years later. And obviously the man he's a wealthy person he's an older guy, wealthy person out of New Jersey, I think. Obviously doesn't need to sell. He wants 20 million for it. But just to go and show like I don't know how many sites it is, but it looks like about 30, and then there's some other land that's up against the inlet that they have it ready to build like condo buildings on. So it's a lot of land. Someone offers 12 million bucks. Just to give you some context, like the guy didn't do anything
Just to give
other
you some
than bought
context,
it
we
right.
just accepted 200 grand for that punt property.
Yeah, exactly. So
Relative.
just to like it's
Yeah, he's just been paying taxes on it.
it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
it like it's a vehicle that like my point is you don't have to like yes, he was smart enough to buy it. I'm sure he had some connection to the area. It's not like he just randomly went out to the auction and bought it. Like obviously he owns something there, knows people there, already develops there. I don't know. But just the sheer fact that he bought it right and then said, I'm gonna let this sit. I bet you this will go up. And buy a beach, you know, decent community. And yes, he won, like, and all aspects, like, yes, he probably is worth a couple 100 million, so it doesn't matter. But like, it's also just the sheer fact of like, you can also run into that in this game, especially if you spend it long enough in it.
Yeah, also for people who
Crazy.
are specifically in real estate, um, if you stick with it and you continue to do things that put you out of your comfort zone, you're gonna start realizing that you can do projects that you wanted to do that you didn't think you might be able to do, or you at least didn't envision it happening as fast.
Like
Like
what?
now, like for example, like we're gonna build at least one house, if not two, by the end of this year and or start them. I don't think if you told me 16 months ago that we'd be doing that by now, I'd be very confident in it. Or when we get opportunities that come across our desk at a higher price point, just the confidence now and the ability to take them down, to buy them if we really wanted to. We know how to get the money. We know where the money is. We know how to underwrite them. And it comes from not stopping at the easy thing that makes you a little bit of money and continuing to take those I keep saying this in different ways, but take the little tiny things that you get from your D deal and then take it and go try a C deal. Take those things from that, go try a B minus deal. Like I know, I just know, we've talked about our plan over the next year or two, but I think if I look at like a 3 to 5 year plan, we're doing stuff like that kind of scale, 10 to 15 million type, a lot of development. Everything I'm reading now is more and more pushing toward ground up development, especially ground up multifamily and mixed use as opposed to buying and renovating. And, I would just say that no, none of this would be possible if not for all these times that we sign up for the one thing we don't know quite how to do it, but we know how to do 40% of it, and we learn the other 60% as we do it. You got to do that.
The further that I get down this rabbit hole of real estate, the less and less I think that I will be wanting to own and operate a large multifamily fund and would want to be more on the side of the maybe fund side of the development or the syndication side of development process more in like the next 5 to 10 years than owning just like a big fund that buys a lot of, not stable, but just multifamily assets across the country, raises the rents, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just kind of think it's more exciting to me,
Yeah, you like
honestly.
I understand.
Like, it might
Yeah.
not even be more financially viable. It might not even be a better business model. I don't know. But like, I like when we pick out fixtures on our flips. Like, I think it's
That
cool.
makes
Like,
one of us. My God.
well, yeah, I mean, you see in one color, like, there is no, some people just don't like that. But like, if we could design a $2 million house, I would be there doing that opposed to a $300,000 flip because there's things that I really enjoy looking at that are just way out of the realm of those types of deals, right? When it comes to actually finish work and all that stuff. And I think like you're not going to do that level of finish probably on ground up development for pretty much anything unless you're building homes. But the intricacies of building to me is very exciting. Like I think that I like that. Like I like the process of seeing something erected in front of your eyes. Like I think that's really cool. And I don't get that from like the Shreveport deal. It's like it's just numbers. It's just like
Sure.
it's not as exciting.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see. I also, by just continuing to put yourself in the position for people to hopefully think of you for deals and bring you deals, it's brought us some opportunities that has totally changed our outlook on the way we look at real estate. We talk about how the RV park is the most labor intensive deal that we have. There's so much to cover between where we're at today and the finish line. But you get to the finish line, it's probably, one of the best days of your life outside of having a couple kids. But there was also a huge gap to cover from the day we bought it to now. We've come a long way. I think we'll see as we continue to do these higher level deals and more of them, what we like, what we don't like, and go from there. I think it's too early to tell. I like the idea of the fund because it seems very evergreen and a lot of maneuverability about it. But I also understand what you're saying in terms of the chase around the high upside project that no one else saw or no one else was willing to do. That's a lot of fun too.
Yeah. I don't know. Back to the RV park. If anyone out there has any experience of running a business like that, maybe you didn't own the real estate, maybe you just worked for something or a management company or something like that, reach out to us and let us know a few things. One, where do you see the the best way to just drive business? Is it all sorts of online advertisements? Because to be honest, like that's not really our world. Like we're in the deal finding world, and now we're getting out of the deal finding world, and we're in like the renovation world. But the RV park is not that. It kind of is what it is. Now you have to bring customers to it on a regular basis. Reviews matter like crazy. Um, amenities obviously matter, but just getting the word out, getting people to come to your park because it's a beautiful place. Just the nature side of things. I don't know. I'm learning a lot, and it's so new that it kind of there's so much that we've left out that maybe we didn't expect we would need to understand or do, and it's definitely going to slow the process down. But
You know what's also so weird is how other people view you as opposed to how you view yourself. That's a lot of things in life, but I'll think about it just in terms of Scott and Sam real estate. Um, we're we're much more active on social media than we have ever been before, and it's led to some really cool relationships and such. And seeing how people look at us as opposed to how we look at ourselves, and I think it's very valid when you line up our actual activity, but we don't look at ourselves that way. Like we still look at ourselves in a lot of ways as like probably how we did in our young to mid 20s with a very learning mindset, and then no one taps you on the shoulder and tells you, hey, that's not who you are or what you're doing anymore. And that's a very tough thing to navigate.
yeah, I was gonna make a video about that last night. If you're anything like us, you probably are not very impressed with what you do.
Oof,
Um,
ain't
and
that the
if
truth?
and if you are, good for you, but that also is a dangerous road to go down. Um, and there's always something more that you could do, another level that you could take it. And if, that's how we've always operated, and that's how I have always thought. But I will tell you, there's one thing that has kind of held true as I've gotten a little bit more successful, and it's the sheer fact of walking into a grocery store or a restaurant and not really looking at the prices of things has become at least a small marker of success, because everything else beyond that is kind of like that's personal preference. Like the cars you drive, the homes you have, all this stuff. Like not everyone
You
needs the
can have a
same
dope
thing.
car and be flat broke.
Of course, but like only if it like will this grocery run and I'm getting exactly what I want, or will this restaurant affect my bottom line? And if you could like comfortably say like no, it won't. Like you're doing pretty good, because I don't think that's the case amongst the majority, which is unfortunate.
But
Um
are we putting ourselves back in this conversation by even talking about this shit anymore? Should we just move past this and stop even putting ourselves in that conversation anymore? And now, what is that next level of people put as their bottom line?
no, because I've also heard this from people that are infinitely more successful than us. For people who can buy anything they want, anything. They realize like the few things that really matter, and like even the home that you're in, it just becomes a home. It's just a home. Like whether the car you drive, it just becomes a car. It becomes an old car eventually. You keep it long enough. Like, but to understand, like, my food is going to be on my table, and I don't have to worry about what I eat and the decisions I make. Like, you can't let that go, dude. Like, I just there is no world where like that doesn't matter for a human being, like, and I agree with you. Yes, like the super wealthy people are not talking about that. I understand that. Like, I get it. But like those people are also dealing with their own shit too. Like people who are buying, mega yachts and all this stuff. And, you know, every yacht is always for sale. It's not because they can't afford it, it's because they're looking for the next one. Like that's fine. Like, that's cool. But like they're dealing with their own shit too. And, we're all dealing with something, but I truly believe it's sometimes you just got to sit back and just be like, all right, like this wasn't always the case, and now it's the case, and it's like it's pretty good.
You said I promise you we're unimpressed with ourselves. Elaborate on that.
For one, I don't like talking about myself very much, and it just kind of comes down to I've always looked at things like I'm not comparing myself to the average, and there's always someone that might be doing worse than I'm doing in the business world, but there's always someone that's doing more, there's always someone that's better at what I do, and if you don't have that mindset, the chances of you climbing to the very top, which is my goal, that doesn't have to be everyone's goal, but that's my goal. And I don't even know really what the top is in this world, but I know that I want to be in the 1% of the 1% someday. And I don't think I could get there by being satisfied with things that I do and things that I've done. That goes for health, that goes for I've only always believed like every day is a new day. Like yesterday was gone. It doesn't matter. Like pat yourself on the back for a second, but then like let's roll. Like same thing with bad shit. Like when bad shit happens, it's like yesterday's gone. Like it's all good. I gotta keep moving forward. And it's just more of like a short memory than like never giving myself any credit, I guess. I don't know.
To give you guys an inside look in what really goes down, um, I would tell you no one puts more pressure on themselves than me, and I'm sure he would say the same about himself. The second person who puts the most pressure on me would be him, in terms of not in terms of literal pressure, but in terms of expectation. I just know, like, if there's something that needs to get done, it's just said, hey man, just do XYZ. Just do ABC. That's it. Like there is no, nah, it's all good. I know you try, it's hey, we have something to do. We need to do it. There is no C. There is no third person or influence that I feel any pressure from. When I talk about, and he's right, he doesn't talk about himself, or he won't even talk about like what we do really at all unless you start asking him. And even we'll be in a sauna together with four other real estate guys, and I don't shut the fuck up. He doesn't open his mouth. And I'm pointing at him, be like, you should see this guy, like this guy, da da da. And he's just like, hey, how are you? Like, da, da. It's just our makeup. We're different. If you got the two of us individually in a room, by the time you walk out with me, you think that we are Grant Cardone. You walk out with him, you think that we're, you know, maybe not doing too much. It's somewhere in the middle. But I promise you, all the pressure is coming from internal, and I think you need that. I think as much as it can drive me insane and it causes me the need to meditate and read and turn my phone off at night
Yeah.
and wake up at 3 a.m. with a cortisol spike, that same pressure is what has just allowed me to keep going and keep leveling up and keep, you know, we talk a lot about, we don't talk about like any projects that we've done in the past ever, but once in a while I'll have one like pop up on my screen as like a flip that we sold, and it comes up as a comp, and I'm like, that was 8 months ago. It feels like it was 80 months ago because we're doing so much in the meantime. And a lot of that I think is driven by, I'm telling you, like there's no parents calling us telling us we need to do more. There's no wives saying I want a Range Rover. It's just all internal. Like, and you need
No,
that. If
no,
you
no one's
have that,
coming.
yeah, no one's coming. No one is coming. And while that might seem like you're in deep dark waters, it's also the no one else is getting it. Like at the end of the road, whatever that looks like, you know, we're gonna remember all the time and the effort and the highs and the lows. And yeah, like I, I'm gonna get that $150,000 car when I can comfortably afford it. And I've done all this, and like I've even had conversations with people. I talk openly about like my immediate thing that I'm working for. Immediate is a relative term, but I'm sure you have something that's the next thing you see in your life. And for me, it is what I consider to be my forever home. Like not necessarily a huge home. Like I don't want anything like I'm not looking for a 5,000 square foot house, but I want a nice yard. I want a pool. I want my own driveway. I share a driveway right now. It drives me insane. And it's like sitting there watching a bunch of kids play with my wife and not thinking about it financially at all. And then when I have that, I'm sure it'll be something. It'll be a beach house, or it'll be or a certain liquid number or whatever. But I think about that a lot. I don't think about cars. I don't think about jewelry. I don't think about anything else other than really that. And I think it's good. Me personally, I think it's good to have that as a barometer uh, of how fast you're moving, which for me is never fast enough. And if you're actually getting results out of what you're doing. And I'm petrified to stop and buy something now or increase my expenses now with the fear that it will um, reduce my ability to move up and have the ability to move up time wise and capital wise, and I'll sell myself short.
I mean, to that end, to the last point that you just made is we had a conversation probably 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago, and it was about saving money. And I remember my goal was $500 a month. That's what I was trying to save. And it was a lot. It was a lot for me. I had like rent, which was like $900, and it was like scraping together $500 a month to save. And then I was told one time that you actually need to make real money if you want to actually save money. And it kind of dawned on me that I was kind of looking at it backwards. Instead of like saving $500 for one day being retired, I'm going to take that extra money that I save. I'm going to go spend it on something that could potentially make me more money so then I could actually have money saved. And your goal of buying a house with all of the things you just explained is so much larger than you didn't say this, but I know you're talking about buying a new car.
100%.
And your goal of what you need to
Get
do
yourself a
that,
partner who doesn't know you.
yeah, to do that is so much larger than what a car would cost of, say, $12,000 a year plus gas and insurance. You're not even playing in the same ballpark right now. And if you think that $12,000 a year plus gas and insurance is going to slow you down from buying a $2.5 million home, you're greatly mistaken, because that little bit is not going to, you're not going to save your way there. I promise you that. You'll never have enough money by saving $12,000 a year to buy that car. You need to earn more money in
Buy that
order
house, he
to,
means.
yeah, to buy that house. Sorry. So sometimes if it's not important to you at all, the car, which it is, I know you're not a car guy, but it's important to your family because you need
No,
a
it's
bigger
gotten to
car.
be. I understand it's important. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes things are, they're not, you're talking about apples and oranges, right? Solve the
Yeah, I like
problem.
that. You're not going to
Solve the,
save your way to a $2 million house.
no. And if you did, you'd be broke as fuck on the back end because you saved $12,000 a year so you could put down a $500,000 down payment, which took you 50, oh
Too
God,
long.
way
Too
long,
long.
way longer than that.
Yeah, too long.
And then now all that money you saved is gone in just some house.
All right, I'm texting the dealer right now. Ship it to my house. He said, "Sir, that's another 10 grand." Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. My partner said it doesn't matter. I'm not saying be irresponsible with your money, people, if you're listening to this. But what I am saying is,
we couldn't. We didn't get even this far, and we're not that far by being irresponsible.
no, you can't.
Like
Like, you got to
we needed
realize
money
when
to get this far.
you got
Like
to realize when $1,000 a month is a problem versus when it's just like a made up problem, and that's just a reality that you're gonna. And it's probably a better mindset to have that he's having than not. but I'm just thinking I know your personal situation more than the next guy, then, it's not gonna stop that. What's gonna stop that is us not doing big enough projects, buying better deals. That's
Yeah,
what's
so
gonna stop that.
and to put a button on it, and I think you're right either way. My inwards fear was not that the $12,000 a year for the car was going to prevent me from getting the house. It was that it's just one more expense every month that I don't have right now, that when I need capital to invest, it gets that much tighter. But you're right. Yeah, I understand. Either way, we're not investing. If we do need capital, it's not going to be $1,000.
Exactly. That's my point. So we spend that at Home Depot every 46 minutes, unfortunately. Unfortunately. That's it, man.
I'm going to the World Cup with
I
with
know.
Home Depot.
I know. Shane is so bummed that you didn't invite him.
Probably stay for a half. I don't know. I don't know the first thing about it. Yeah. Allie's my wife. For the listeners at home, you want to give her social security number while we're at it? Anything else we got to hit? We got to hit on this week, episode 12.
Meditating, not saving money,
Check
buying
out
new
the intro and
cars.
the outro of the pod.
Yeah, even if you don't listen to the entire pod, just scroll to the end, the last minute. You get to listen to the full song. The beginning is just the intro part of the song, but the full song is pretty cool. And shout out our new employee, Manis, who made that. And yeah, anyone who's got anything they want to share about running an RV business, RV park, or it could be any sort of would be equivalent to that. Like even like a laundromat would be a kind of equivalent. Just like what type of advertisements are you running, stuff like that. I'd be really curious to know.
Hotels.
Hotels, yeah, hotels would be really good if you're a hotel owner, you work for one or something like that. That'd be awesome. Very similar business model, I guess. That's pretty much all I got, man. Join the school community.
Maybe we
$10
rip
a
an
month.
in-person pod here in June here soon. On the beach.
I'll be back. I'll be up there. I'm coming up next Wednesday.
Cool.
And I'll be up there for like 2 weeks. I would like to do one in person, and then we should definitely
In
do
Times
one
Square. That'll go viral.
in the middle of Times Square. And I would like to do one in August in Y Island. I feel like that'd be fun. We get some of the boys from college on there.
All right, I'll just tell it.
Scott and Sam, the AM. Scott and Sam, the AM. Yeah, we giving you the real estate investors, showing you the deal. Two best friends on the grind every single day. Tune in every Wednesday. We got something to say. Scott and Sam, the AM. Yeah, we giving you the real estate investors, showing you the deal. Two best friends on the grind every single day. Tune in every Wednesday. We got something to say.
Thank you for listening.